Hello everyone, welcome to Witch Hollow Homestead. Today I am going to be doing something that I really enjoy, and it is a very, very simple canning recipe that anyone can do who has a pressure canner. I'm going to be showing you how I can dried beans. Before we start, I want to let you know that I do not pre-soak my beans before putting them in the jars. I'm going to be putting them in dry and adding boiling water. As I mentioned in previous videos, beans always bother my stomach, and I decided to pressure can my own beans a few weeks ago just to see if that made a difference. And it made a huge difference. I can eat beans every day now, and large quantities of them, and feel totally fine. So I don't know if it's the industrial canning process that does it. I don't know if there's chemicals being added, even though the can says organic and it's just water, salt, and beans. I don't know if it's the cans leaching heavy metals into the food. I have no idea, and I don't care. I'm excited I can now eat beans. On the menu today is going to be black beans, pinto beans, and garbanzo beans. You can use any dried beans for this recipe. These I bought in 25-pound bags at the co-op. If you're able to do that, that's great, and if not, any dried beans will work. I put filtered water in my tea kettle, and I'm going to turn that on and get that boiling. And I'm also going to fill my pressure canner to my water line inside and get that going so that I can put the hot jars right into hot water. Before I use my pressure canner, I always like to check and make sure that the valve is free and that I can see through it. That way I know that I don't need to clean it first. My pressure canner developed this line in it, which is my perfect 3-inch line after I used it once, so it makes it really easy to put water in it. I'm going to begin by filling my jars, and for the pint-sized jars, I'm going to do a half a cup of beans, and when I do them, in order for the beans to not soak up all the liquid that I put in, I am not going to overfill the half a cup. I'm gonna leave it short a little bit. That way, there will be plenty of liquid left in the jars after we've pressure canned. The half a cup rule applies to all beans. So whether I'm canning black beans, pinto beans, garbanzo beans, Great Northern beans, kidney beans, I'm still only going to do a half a cup in the pint-sized jars. You can do a full cup in quart-sized jars. This next step is optional, but I like it so that my beans are seasoned. I like to add a half a teaspoon of salt to each jar, but you can leave them plain. You don't need to add salt. Or if you want to flavor your beans, you can add any spice you like. It's really up to you. The water in the kettle began to boil, and we are now ready to add the boiling water to our pint-sized jars. I'm going to fill them up just to the bottom rim, so about a half an inch of headspace. You can also just fill to the fill line. I like to wipe the rims with a paper towel that has a little bit of white vinegar on it so that I make sure my lids are going to stick and that when I pressure can, I will get a really tight seal. When you pressure can, and this is what I have experienced personally, the lids loosen quite a lot. So I will put these on finger tight and then even tighten them just a little bit more than that, because when I go to take them out, the rings will be very, very loose. My pressure canner can hold 2 stacks of pint-sized jars, so that is what I'm doing, and I am putting 16 jars in here. I like to make sure that my lid is perfectly even when I put it on, otherwise you will get steam leaking. You can use a chopstick and go around to see if it's even, or I just like to do it by eye and stick my fingers in between to make sure everything lines up. I'm going to tighten my lid, turn the heat up to high, and get the pressure canner going. When steam starts coming out of the vent in a consistent stream, I'm going to start the timer for 10 minutes. Once the 10 minutes are up, I am going to put my jiggler on and bring this up to 10 psi. Once it comes up to 10 psi, I am going to pressure can for 75 minutes for pint-sized jars and 90 minutes for quart-sized jars. I lowered the heat once I put the jiggler on so that I could control the pressure gauge. When the time is up, I'm going to turn the heat off and allow the pressure canner to depressurize on its own. Once the gauge reaches 0, I'll remove the jiggler, allow all the steam to vent out, and then I will open the pressure canner. I love seeing the jars still bubbling inside when I take them out. And they bubble like that for a long time for me. I think it was like 3 or 4 hours of them sitting on the counter until they finally stopped bubbling. You're going to want to let these jars sit for a full 24 hours on your counter to completely cool and properly seal. The one thing I will do while I'm removing these jars is that I'm going to tighten the rings so that we get a proper seal. And that's all there is to pressure canning your own beans. It is so simple and easy to do, and it saves so much time when you think, oh, I want to make chili tonight. Oh, wait, I didn't soak my beans, and now I have to cook my beans. These are ready for you, and it's so handy to have this staple on your shelf for a quick meal. Thank you so much for joining me today at Witch Hollow Homestead. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. Happy homesteading!